Oh my gosh. It was love at first sight. Good morning, it's Wednesday and I'm feeling good. I actually slept throughout the night. First time for everything. Now I'm waiting for my ride to go to work. However, did take a little too long to get ready and slept a little later than I should have, so I might be late today. Good morning.
Good morning, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be just like 1 or 2 minutes late. I'll see you right after work. My brother wanted me to get him a drink, and I wanted to get out of the house and wanted a snack, so we're here. So the problem with taking a nap right after you get home from work is you totally screw over the video that you had in mind. Today, after work, I planned on taking you to GameStop. I missed my finger there. Well, I'd take you to GameStop where we would pre-order Mario Kart. I would probably get a time lapse of the store, and then from there I would have put a montage in of the beauty of California, probably take my drone to a park or a school, and then do a fun drone montage, and then I would have gotten tea, most likely, with someone that I would have known, and find out how they're doing in life, get their views and perspectives, share a couple laughs, and then would have wrapped up the video, maybe in here or out there, depending how I'd feel. But since I napped, instead, I don't know what to do. Well, at least Deirdre left this comment right here, so I guess this is gonna be a story time video, and we're gonna do that. Candy is so good. I love candy. I have no self-control. Alright, so grab your popcorn, get yourself a drink, and get ready to listen to this story. Okay, to start this story, we have to go all the way back to my freshman year of high school. To quickly set the scene, my best friend at the time was my neighbor. We'd known each other since 2nd grade, and we told each other everything. Our bus had just arrived to school, and she was talking about how she needed her notes really, really bad from one of her friends. And I hadn't met her friend, and I honestly didn't care because I had other things on my mind. I really wasn't like the best student in terms of study habits. I was a good student in terms of grades, like I got straight A's, but procrastination was my thing. I would do my homework 20 minutes before class, or in other classes I would never do my homework at home, which, thinking back on, like, I wish I did that because I probably would have developed better study habits and college would have been a lot easier for me. C'est la vie. So she's going on about how she needs her notes from her friend. I'm not going to use real names, so we're going to say her friend's name is Dawn. I like that name, Dawn. Thinking of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we're going to go with Dawn. So she's talking about how her friend Dawn has her notebook and she really needs it because she needs to study, but Dawn was absent, and being a good friend, she wanted to be really good friends with Dawn, so she let her borrow her notes for the class. And yeah, I just didn't care. I was like, I don't know who this Dawn girl is. I don't know why you're telling me this story. Come on. I gotta walk you to your locker so you can get this dang notebook, and then I'm gonna go to the library and do my homework that I didn't do for first period. And that was my mindset. I'm thinking about this, and she's just going on and on and on. As we're approaching her locker, I notice the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my life up to that point. I remember she was wearing a red track jacket. She had blonde hair, blue eyes, and her hair was like crimped. Like, that's the thing that like girls did when I was in high school. They wore their hair like straight and then they crimped it so it was wavy. And I was floored. This girl to me was heaven sent. I was just like, I need to know that girl. I need to know who that girl is right now, and I need to know what she likes, what she's into, what her favorite band is, what her favorite movie is, what does she think about dark guys with, at the time, I had spiky hair. What does she think about dark guys with spiky hair that love pop punk, punk rock, and rock and roll music all together? What does this girl like? Will she please like me? Oh my gosh. It was love at first sight. As we approach the lockers, I notice that this girl is smiling and is walking towards me. And I can't believe it. Like, I thought I was dreaming. I was like, why is this girl walking towards me? What is she doing? She's holding her books like this, and I just can't contain myself. It's like something out of a high school movie. It's something out of a John Hughes movie. I'm just freaking out. Like, who is this girl? And why is she walking towards me? Is this a dream? And then she pulls out a notebook from her stack of books in her arms and hands it right to my friend. And I'm like, what? Like, you two know each other? How is this possible? We know the same friends. How have I not met this girl before? And then my best friend goes, Chris, this is Dawn. And so coolly, I just look at Dawn and I'm like, sup? That's all I had to say to this girl that I was like freaking out about. On the inside, like, I remember my heart was racing and I felt like I was just melting right there in her presence. And then she smiles and I see like a face full of braces and she's like, I'm done. And then I go, cool. Nice to meet you. And then I look at my best friend and say, I'll see you after school. Then I walk away. I walk halfway up the amphitheater and I turn around and I see that they're not looking at me, and run as fast as I can to the bathroom, go splash some water on my face, and I tell myself right there, I am gonna date that girl. And at this point I hadn't had a girlfriend, but I was very convinced that somehow, some way, I was gonna do whatever it took, and I was gonna get that girl to like me. So later on I learned more and more about her, and I find out that she's got a boyfriend that's older, taller, and goes to a different school. And in my head, I still thought, you know what? I'm still gonna be that guy. So we exchange AOL Instant Messenger names and we start talking on the internet every now and again. And we find out that we like a lot of the same bands, and she thinks I'm cool and she thinks I'm funny. I'm really stoked, but then she also tells me that, oh yeah, my boyfriend Brandon, he's so great. He's actually gonna transfer to our school next semester so we can go to the same school. And I can't wait until we're 18 because I'm gonna marry him. And I remember just being like, no, why? Just so heartbroken. I didn't really think that they would get married, but at the same time, like, I had no idea how things worked out. I live in a small town, and it's actually very common for high school sweethearts to, like, date forever and to get married. I have several people that I've gone to school with on my Facebook feed that just have known each other forever, have dated forever, and now they're married and have kids, and they're probably going to be together forever. So we'll flash forward a little bit more, and that boy finally does transfer to school, and it was the weirdest thing. Like, I think about it, and it's so weird. I remember walking by where they were, like, hanging out, and she, like, waved at me and introduced me to him, and I was, like, so not stoked about that. When I met him, I just felt like there was nothing I could do, that I was hopeless and helpless, because he was tall, he had better clothes than me, he was just a very decent looking preppy boy. Like, I don't think he was that handsome. I think that if she was dating a better looking guy, I probably would have just given up, but he wasn't that handsome, and he was also not really smart. I don't know how he transferred to the school because he was like failing every class. But it didn't matter. He had it all. He had the girl that I wanted. He had the cool clothes. He had a nice, fast car because he was in a higher grade. And what did I have? I had a skateboard, greasy hair, and I had like 3 t-shirts that I wore in a rotation. I remember shaking his hand and meeting him and thinking, I'm gonna be the guy that Dawn will be in love with, not you. I really thought that. Maybe that's the difference between, like, younger me and older me. I was more confident and I believed, like, things would happen relationship-wise. Now when I meet a girl, I think, oh, there's no way this girl's gonna hate me. Maybe I'm just setting myself up for failure, but... So flash forward to sophomore year. They date for like over a year, but then he cheats on her, they break up, he goes back to his old school, and she's really single, and for some reason I have a popularity explosion. Somehow, some way, I got really popular, people wanted to be my friend, people wanted to talk to me, and instead of 3 shirts, I had like 6 shirts in rotation, but they were all really cool band t-shirts, so people would always be like, hey, I like your shirt. You like that band? That's cool. I was still talking to Dawn over the internet, and we had become better friends, but we never really hung out. I was actually chasing this girl that I liked since 7th grade, and she was giving me attention, so I was really stoked. So there's Dawn and that girl, and I divided my time amongst them. So when I liked Dawn more, I actually hung out with my longtime crush, and when I liked my longtime crush, I hung out with Dawn more, which actually caused confusion amongst both of those girls. They didn't know who I liked because I was being a very confusing boy. And I think that's very common when you're young. And it was just simply because when I liked Dawn more, it was hard to be around her, and I was comfortable around my longtime crush, and vice versa. So I would just hang out with who I felt more comfortable with, and then when those feelings started to deepen, I got uncomfortable and just keep switching around. So after my longtime crush got a boyfriend, because I waited too long, I started to just talk to Dawn, and the winter formal was around the corner, and a girl in my geometry class who I sat next to that was friends with both of them told me, you should take Dawn to formal. I think that would be so cool. And she was like feeding me these ideas because Dawn had told her that she thought I was really cool and thought I was cute, which is, that's crazy. And she just really, really liked me. But I wish that they told me this, because I almost didn't ask her to formal because I was convinced she'd say no. There was no way. But my best friend at the time, he happened to like one of her best friends. So we made a deal that if I asked Dawn, he would ask the best friend. And that sort of is exactly why I had the nerve to do this. So I concocted a plan in which I would take her out of her 6th period class, because every single day after lunch, I would walk her to her 6th period class. And a little backstory, like if I wasn't there ready to like walk her, she would go by herself, and I'd have to watch her from the distance walking to class. And likewise, our classes were right next to each other. So if I wasn't the first boy out of the classroom waiting for her to get out of class, then she would just walk to the buses by herself, or walk to the buses with her friends, or walk to the buses with other boys. So you're best damn sure I was the first boy out of class, because I needed to walk her every day. So I concocted a plan to have my teacher pull her out of her 6th period class. Word got around school that I was planning on asking her to formal, so my entire 6th period class knew. And when I asked my 6th period teacher to pull her out of class, everyone was like, all right, let's do it. Then my 6th period teacher, who we were really close, I've had her for like 2 years in a row, she was like one of my favorite teachers, she walked in and pulled her out of class. And I was there waiting when she was pulled out of class. And I was like, hey, Dawn, you want to go to formal with me? And then she smiled and was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, tight, sick, okay. And then we hugged, and then I walked back into my classroom, and my entire class was like, what did she say? And I said, she said, yeah. And then the entire class erupted in cheers. Oh my gosh. And like, it's obvious that the other class heard this just happen. That didn't register in my brain. But after the end bell rang, I realized, what did I just do? So I didn't want to be the first person out of class, because I was just hoping she'd just walk to the buses by herself, because no way I face this girl after doing that. I had immediately regret my decision, even though she had said yes and like it was the desired outcome. But now, I didn't know if I could keep a straight face in front of this girl now. Like, I don't know what we are. We were just friends, but now we're both going to formal, and I like her, but does she like me? Or is she just being nice? All her friends had dates, and she didn't, so, and she really wanted to go to formal, so whatever. And so I'm walking out of class, the very last person out of class. As the hallway starts to filter out, I see her again, with her books across her chest like this, leaning against the door, waiting for me. And then we walked to the buses, had a good time at formal, and then I asked her to be my girlfriend, and she said yeah. That's the story. We dated for a while, and maybe I'll tell my breakup story when I get 1,000 subs. So, thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked this story. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do a more traditional Chris vlog, so be sure to tune in for that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.